We then allocate funding, and then they choose the provider or the type of provider that they want to provide the assistance to them.
And so, are those people also allowed to access, say, the Better Access Scheme, Medicare's Better Access Scheme? Discount?
Sorry?
Is somebody eligible to have, I don't know how to say
I think what she's
it,
trying to say is,
Medicare.
if someone went to a GP and asked for,
The health plan?
Yeah, mental health care plan to
Yep.
reduce their anxiety.
Yep.
Doing
Yep.
with
You
that.
do Medicare, yep, that's fine.
Medicare as well, in the same.
But if you did your 12
You probably wouldn't get that, you wouldn't do them both. You've probably exhausted your health plan if you need NDIS assistance, because that tends to kick in pretty early and quickly, and it's over. It's where it's a more chronic condition.
Is there a list for practitioners that NDIS can access? Or
No, you register. You have to register as a practitioner, and then participants can select one of you.
Okay.
So we don't allocate. Hang on, I've got to go down the back.
But if they're self-managed, they can see anyone. They don't have to be registered.
If they self-manage their funds, they can see any practitioner they like. Yep.
And in terms of
They take responsibility for the quality.
That's exactly right. In terms of value for money, when we are working towards supporting our clients who are accessing NDIA, should we be trying to show that cost benefit in the letters that we write?
Yes. So if you, for example, are asked to write a letter about what kind of support what kind of interventions this person needs, and to what end, you would need to provide the evidence that it's going to be effective. Yeah. And if you want to say, well, you won't get a week for a year, once a week for a year. But if you want to say that I want to do some intensive work first because this is going to be more effective, and then that will taper off, and I'll just be monitoring, and I'll be making sure that the school or the whatever knows what to do with this young person.
So if we had a client with complex needs,
Yep.
who needed long-term therapies or long-term treatment
No.
to achieve a thing, but why not?
No.
Who decides if we can show you clinical
That's health.
evidence? But health would argue differently.
No, that is not NDIS if they need long-term treatment intervention as treatment. We are there about increasing their ability to increase their social and community participation.
For someone with a personality disorder,
I would argue that yes.
Well, anyway, that's
Probably not going to do anything, but anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If I could just build on the earlier questions, if we have a parent with multiple sclerosis whose physical ability or loss of ability means they need assistance many days of the week
They will get it for themselves.
for whatever they need to do.
They will be a participant themselves,
Yeah.
whether they're a parent or not.
Okay. And so if they have parenting responsibilities, do they get assistance to do those parenting responsibilities? Because my question is, if somebody, you mentioned earlier somebody wouldn't get permission to do weekly sessions with psychologists.
No.
But we have people who are getting twice daily visits from health professionals to keep them out of the hospital, to increase their community participation.
You mean disability support workers?
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
what I'm suggesting, what you're saying is you're penalising people with a mental health problem, but prioritising.
No. We would pay the same support. We would pay for the same supports for someone with a mental health problem in terms of the functional impact of their disability as we would for the person with MS. So if they are not managing their self-care, not managing their community access without assistance, we would pay for that as well. It's exactly the same.
But what you have to do, I guess, is put it in terms of those areas that you listed beforehand in terms of referring, because I think one of
It's unlikely that a psychologist will be helping a person to access a community or to do their self-care or anything. That would be highly unusual.
No, that's not at all true. I think you're being very disingenuous when you say that, or you're not familiar with New South Wales public mental health system. Because I've supervised over many years and run and managed those teams for the public mental health system. We have social workers, psychologists, and nurses manning those teams. We do not have untrained or semi-skilled professionals on.
And they go in and actually do personal care and shopping and...
Yep.
Most definitely.
Oh, you bet.
No, get out of
Very
it.
disingenuous
They're as
when you
qualified
say
as you are. They're not doing that.
I
No.
think
Yes, they are.
And we're not paying $175 an hour for that service. We pay $44 an
You may
hour.
not, but the public mental health system is paying that.
Oh, I'd be
I'm sorry,
surprised.
I think you've been very disingenuous.
I'm not disingenuous. I'm telling you genuinely what I know and what I observe happens in the community.
I think you're actually misleading this, and this is being recorded. My goodness, that's quite.
How am I misleading?
Because you're saying that the mental health system doesn't provide that.
Well, if they do, that's terrific, but we won't be doing it under NDIS. We do not pay qualified practitioners who we pay at quite a high rate to provide a support that a disability support worker provides. And that's,
So I appreciate that what you're saying, that is true. I'm sure it's your decision.
yeah, yeah.
So is the rate of pay is 175?
$175 an hour for qualified health practitioners. Yeah, and there's a
So that would be like...
you claim against a person's plan. Yes, psychologists can get paid that, but for those doing the who have the higher level qualifications in behavioural support, they can get a higher fee.
So,
Yep.
What's
Wait,
the
there's
fine?
another question.
so that's what these people are asking. I was referred a client. I had to register for that client because
Yep.
that client is an NDIS.
Funds are agency managed, yeah.
And I was, although it's not managed by the mother because he has a...
No, no, no.
a disability.
Most people don't choose to manage their funds because they don't want to.
He has a mild developmental disability.
Mild.
Mild,
Okay.
but he's still got it and he's been diagnosed with deep depression, so I don't know how he's got the funding. But there was allocated 10 sessions for, the payment was 176
Yep.
and it was under improved relationships. Now
Yep.
it's a minefield. I'm sorry to say, for anybody who's tried to register, it's an absolute minefield. I spent hours, either I'm dumb, or I can't understand the system.
You know the main problem with registration
There was,
is that part of it that where you have to get your PRODA registration,
yes, I already
which
had
is run. No, but you've got to get a second one for NDIS. You can't
Oh, yes.
you can't go past that. Yeah. Once you get that.
There's a lot of modules, and I thought that I was getting 176. And when I put it in, then I said, no, it's not behavior support, it's improved relationships. I said, look, just tell me what am I supposed to be doing? And so they said, no, it's all right. And when I tried to get payment, it gave me $149.50, and I said, all right, those are, I charge a lot more than 176 in my private practice. But I said, oh, forget it, I'm just willing to do it for nothing. As long.
Take the 140.
It sounds like the social work rate.
Oh, yes, you have to go online. But anyway, that wasn't my point. It was
Yeah, just drop a note to our provider registration. The email address is on on all the information that's there. So we're called a provider support. Just drop a note to them, and they'll look after those things for you.
And then I don't provide daily CB, daily whatever it's called. I don't provide that. But it's only under that I'm allowed to bill. So there is a lot wrong with the system.
No, you bill under, for all of you, you don't bill under the daily living, you bill under capacity building. It's all of the outcome domains are under capacity building.
So who's going to help me do that?
Well, they're very clear. They're on the website. I'm just seeing, I don't know if I've got it here. Anyway, go on. Hang on, the guy behind you's got a question.
Can I ask a question on assessment? I've been to another NDIS information session run under local primary health network.
Oh, yeah.
And in that session, we were told that NDIS can fund for assessment if need be, and all.
For what?
But overall, over a diagnostic assessment, but overall.
Diagnostic assessment?
Yeah, but
no.
the idea is not even about the diagnosis. People, so long as they can prove they have functional impairment, intervene them to have their social participation, then they would be qualified for NDIS.
They may.
Yeah, and which is true in some of my case, but I also come across some cases that people have long history being diagnosed by pediatricians for have autism, and they've been knocked back by NDIS saying that, well, pediatrician doesn't do IQ tests and did not do ADOS or ADIR, and so they say what they actually need. So the clients actually then come to me for those reports, and they were advised by NDIS to see me under Better Access mental health care plan, and I said, well, Better Access specifically say that we can't do IQ tests, we can't do autism assessment. When I try to call them, it's very, very difficult to get through to them.
Yeah, through the 1800 number. Well, firstly, we do not pay for diagnostic assessment, so let's make that absolutely clear. We don't. That is the responsibility of the health system, and you would normally expect that a paediatrician would not be making a diagnosis of autism without the input of a multidisciplinary team. So that would be the expectation, and then they can use whatever scales they usually use. But that would be the expectation. We actually use the DSM and the levels of ASD in that. I mean, I must say, that's pretty loose, I think. But yeah. Anyway, but so I mean, autism is a particular thing, but it's generally a multidisciplinary team is usually required for that diagnosis. Yeah. But we're not paying for. We don't pay for diagnostics.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
So they end up often have to raise the fund.
Well, I mean, really, or go back to the paediatric clinic, because this is a young person you're talking about.
Well, yeah, not so young. He's just finishing year 12.
Oh God.
Yeah. So he has been diagnosed.
He would have had a diagnosis in the education system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be a diagnostic.
But they don't accept that because the IQ test expired by 2 years.
No, they will accept it, and there would be teachers' reports there that could be used.
No, they reject everything.
Oh, well, I don't understand that. They shouldn't. Yeah. No. The up-to-date, the relevant reports will be what the teachers are saying about that young person. Yeah. Hang on, there's questions down there. Yep.
So a simple question, because I also struggle with the software. As a psychologist, what categories should I be attempting to register under?
You register under therapy for starters. That's where you're registering, and then you go in and select the support types that you can deliver services in. So it would be about improving social relationships. It might, and that's also that's where behaviour support sits anyway. So there's not a lot of categories you actually need to look at.
So could you show us a picture of what it looks like on the website?
No. No, I can't, because you've got to get into the, on the website, there's a thing called suitability, a guide to suitability for providers. It's pretty well spelled out in that. Yeah.
There's 2 categories that psychologists can apply. On one of the modules it said if there's, it seems to be 2 categories that psychologists.
I'm just trying to remember, there's improving social relationships, and
There's relationships and in daily living.
Improved daily living, yeah, because a lot of things go under improved daily living, because that's to do with, general activity and being able to manage things yourself. Yep. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's go through quickly.
May I just ask you one more question?
Yep.
I'm a bit confused. So you said it's 175. Yes, other people said it's only 49.50.
Yeah, there's a lower rate, and I think that's for a non-accredited social worker. Yeah. Which will come under the counselling or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, you're now talking down to line items. You're not talking about your registration for that.
So you can register for 2 general groups. You can register, if you're a sole trader, you can register for relationships, and you can register as part of the daily living. Yep. Under daily living, there is about 10 or 12 items that you can then access funds from. What you did, Shezzy, was you accessed the General Counselling 146. If you went further down, you would have seen that there's one called Assessment, Intervention and Technology Support, and that's 176.
Help me find it.
They're all there, you just need to look.
They are all there, but it is time consuming. And
Yep.
so if you've got one client, it's not going to be beneficial for you. But if you have, if you're in a pediatric practice like myself, we've got no option but to go into NDIS because we have a large proportion of our clients going into that. Sorry to take over.
No, that's all right, that's fine, hey?
So you don't have to register if you're okay.
If you
If
what?
they're self-funded under NDIS, they can come and see you and you can bill them as a private client and you don't have to have anything to do with NDIS. You just get paid as you normally would. If they're registered and NDIA pays their funds, you have to be a registered provider. So you either have to decide whether to become a registered provider or to say to NDIS clients, you have to be self-managed to see me.
Yeah. But it's only a small proportion. No, that's great. Only a small proportion is self-managed. Yeah. So, and you can take both. If you're registered, you can take both.
Yes, if you're registered, you can take everything.
Yep.
Have you had problems with the public guardianship at all?
Yeah.
Because we notice in the hospital that we will, the people are allocated a public guardian because they don't have family to look after them.
Yep.
They send a letter to our clients going, we suggest you do this with the NDIS. The person's not capable of dealing with that letter, so they turn it straight back to the social worker, who then contacts the guardian who go, we don't want to deal with it.
Why not? They do.
It's not their role.
It is. It is.
That's what we say to them.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And we have conversations with the public guardian all the time. Yeah, no, they must do it. Yeah, it is their responsibility. That's what they're there for. Yep. Okay, so, so this is actually meant for more more medically oriented health practitioners, but basically, make sure you are familiar with the Act and with the guidelines. Always think about what solutions you're proposing in order for us to provide the funding. So that's very important. We're only looking for outcomes. We're looking for solutions. You must consider good professional practice. If we've got concerns, we will use an independent practitioner to give us a view of whether or not it's appropriate. When people are being discharged and other things, you also need to think about mainstream options, and you also need to think about, is this really a health system responsibility or NDIS? We don't go for the roll gold first. We go for the most cost effective. And that just goes on about modifications, which is quite separate. Except the only time that you would come into that would be for people with quite challenging behaviour. And sometimes home modifications to a person's own home what will do what will actually help cater to their needs in the community. Other times it would be about the kind of housing that will be appropriate for them to live in the community. So that's probably about it. We'll leave it there.
Thank you so much for coming. We know it's a very hot topic and one that clearly we need further professional development in to be able to help our psychologists to understand NDIS, not just within this state, but it needs to be a national focus, which hopefully will continue at the National Committee from what I started. But definitely an area that we need to, and we really appreciate that you came out and were able to talk with us through some of those basic points.
Okay.
Thank you so much.